jobs and no cleanup tree removal. And as most folks know, no cleanup jobs are the best because cleanup is not as much fun as taking down when it comes to tree work. This right here is going to be our victim today. It's a declining elm tree. And as you can see here, it is really close to the property line here. You know, the neighbor's driveway is over there. This is our customer's driveway. We got some small Rose of Sharon and some other ornamental plants in here. We got this retaining wall. It's kind of in rough shape, but it's there and it's an obstacle for us. So the challenge here is that because this is no cleanup tree, we need to get everything onto our client's side of the property line. And as you can see, a lot of this tree is out over the neighbor's driveway. So traditionally, if we were here cleaning this all up with a chipper and hauling away the wood, it wouldn't be that big a deal because we could just lower all this stuff with the rope gently onto the driveway and then clean it up from there and haul it away. But because we're going to be leaving the stuff here for our client to deal with, he's going to clean up on his own time, save a little bit of money. We need to get it all back on this side of the property line. It's not impossible, but it is going to take a little bit more work up in the tree so we can save ourselves from dragging material one side of the fence to the other side of the fence for the client to deal with it on his side. First things first, I want to open up a little bit of a drop zone over here. So I'm going to cut down a couple of these small trees that aren't really benefiting anybody. They just sprouted up here. In fact, we got some here with poor structure that really ought to come down anyway. All of our helpers are here. I'm about ready to stomp my way up the tree here, but before I can do that, we need to set up the GRCS. This is a friction device and a winch that allow us to lift and lower stuff up in the canopy. I'll show you how that works once I get up there, once I get the rope set up. And I'm gonna see if I can get some ground footage of this thing running so that way you guys can see operations down here. It's really slick. I like to use two ropes as I ascend the tree, one that's choked tight and one that's just to keep me from falling back. And the reason I do this is because if one of my spikes slips out of the tree, this choked anchor will keep me from sliding all the way down the tree. Back in the olden days, old school guys, they didn't use this part, and it just adds a little bit of safety to things. A little bit more work to scooch everything up, but it's worth the effort. We're just gonna keep doing this to work our way all the way up to the top. Now, when we get to a branch, we gotta get our ropes up past the branch. In this situation, we can't just cut them off because if I cut that branch off, it would hit that house. So we have to get our ropes above the branch. It's really nice to have two ropes set up because now I can move one rope above the branch and then use that rope to support myself while I move the other one above the branch. Now you see that's tied on above the branch, so I'll put my weight on that. Take my weight off of this rope. Toss it over. There we go. And now I can keep on going. Alrighty, we've arrived in the top of the tree. And I've climbed out on this limb right here because this is the one I want to set up my rigging block on. That way we can lower all the branches from this point. The reason I want to use this point rather than one of these other ones is simply because the rope here will hang into a really convenient spot for the fellas on the ground to deal with the limbs when they come down. If I were to use that side of the tree, we'd be over on the neighbor's side. If I were to use this one, it would be over in that brush. If I was to use this one, it would be right on top of that retaining wall that's falling apart. So this is just the optimal branch to work from. Because this one leans out a little bit from the tree there, as you can see, we'll also put another rigging block over on that limb over there. It'll help resist the force of the rope wanting to peel this limb off of the tree since it leans out. Had one of the fellas down there tie the rigging block onto my climbing rope, so I'm going to use that to pull the block up here. All right, now we're gonna tie this on with a cow hitch. Now we're gonna pull up the rigging rope. It's a lot bigger, heavier, and stronger than my climbing rope is. Probably wouldn't have to use this big of a rope on this tree, but the small rope I have for rigging is just probably a little bit on the small side for this stuff. So we're gonna make sure we go bigger is better for this particular tree. This is a 5/8 rigging rope. It's double braid. The 2-strand carrier. You see there's 2 strands in each one of these little threads that braid the rope together. This thing has a breaking strength of 19,500 pounds, which is incredible for the size rope it is. This stuff is called Raging Red, and it's made by All Gear. I like it a lot. Took a while to get broken, but it's a good rope now. Now we're gonna tie this rope to our belt here, and we're gonna move over to the other spar behind me over here, and we'll set another rigging block to disperse the load. Now this rope will go through this block, and this is going to hang right over top of where that GRCS is down there on the ground. So this will help guide it right into that device. We're all set up. Here's our rigging system as a whole. And what you can see is that the rope angle is divided by this stem here. That's exactly what we want. We want that force to all go straight down that stem, rather than if it was just, if both ropes were on that side of the stem, it'd be pulling the stem that way off of the tree, and it would be much less strong than it is in this configuration. I also have my rope redirected over here to avoid any interference with the rigging line. We don't want this rope to rub on that rope because it'll likely damage one of the ropes. Ropes are expensive. They're not like I can't replace them expensive, but I need this rope to be in good shape to support my life up here. I can't afford for it to get damaged while I'm hanging on it. Now we've got to pick a branch to rig out of here first, and we're going to pick this one right here. It's nice and close to the rigging point, and it's going to open up the pathway that we need to open up in order to swing these branches over to here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. I'm going to tie the rope up beyond the balance point of the limb, beyond its center of gravity. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to lift on the tip for me to cut it off down there and not have the thing flip over, which we're really tight in here between this other maple tree right here and this canopy itself is really tight, and we really can't afford to be swinging things around too much. We kind of gotta, if we want to get big pieces down, we got to do it with minimal movement. You may notice that I am super stable on this limb even though it's leaning, and that's because I'm on the side of it. My climbing rope is supporting me from swinging on around, and my flip line here is keeping me from getting too far away from it. It's way better than trying to be on the top side of the limb like this, balancing with your ropes all behind you and everything. Way more comfy like this. This limb is really long. In order for me to make this limb a little bit easier for the fellas on the ground to deal with, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this side off of it. I can get it to free fall, kind of roll off this maple and land in our landing zone down there. Everybody clear? Perfect. As you may be able to see up there, we've actually got a little bit of interference from a dead branch. So we're gonna have to let this one kind of swing out first, and then we can cut the rest of the way off. It's gonna be a little bit dicey. Okay, we'll make our back cut, and this thing should, whoop, it'll swing a little ways and it should stop. Yep, it swung, not quite as far as I was hoping, but it swung. Go ahead and use the drill to crank on this one. Now we're gonna go ahead and lift with the winch down at the bottom of the tree. Okay, stop. Now we're gonna cut our hinge off slowly, this direction specifically, because this branch is trying to stand up, and we want to cut the side of the hinge that's under a lot of tension. Kind of see it moving around in the top up there. Yep, yep. Now, this branch is going to move a lot once it comes off, but it's not going to move a whole lot because we've only got a short distance of rope between where the rope is tied to this branch and the block up there. Yep, it's rolling where it needs to go even more. Okay, it's actually just sitting there, so I'm going to give it a kick and see if I can get it off. And there we go. It's 100% on the rope now. You can go ahead and lower that. Yep, you're doing fine. You can go a little faster if you like. It's all in your hands now. You go as quick or as slow as you like.
Right.
Ooh, it's getting tangled in our maple tree just a little bit. You can keep coming down. Oh, got a bunch of tangle in the rope.
Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna get heavy again, Mason. That's okay, no need to panic. You still got the heavy end down there. You can go ahead and swing it back around towards the corner of the house as it comes down. You can come down with it, Mason. Yep. And there we go, safe and sound on the ground. On to the next one. All right, we got another one here that we can drop without the rope on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quick to get it out of our way. Perfect. The next limb that we have good access to is this one right here. So I'm just gonna swing right over. I'm gonna climb up to the top. I'm gonna put the rope in the top and then we'll cut it off to the bottom again. Got our face cut on the other side here. I'm going to cut off. We're going to use the winch down there to pull this thing up towards the other side. All right, go ahead and pull on that some more. See it starting to move? Stop. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and cut it off here so it can swing over. Woo. That one jumped over with a little bit of force. It's probably just because of some interference up there at the top. Okay, I'm gonna give it a push over there, Mason, before I have you let it down. Just hang tight. That could be fun. Go ahead and come down with it. These elm limbs are kind of tricky because they're so tall and spindly. They got a lot of weight in the top of them.
Got it. Good job.
Now we're gonna just keep working the rest of the way around the tree. So that means that this one right here is next, which will be really easy because it's small, but it's got a big chunk of wood down here, which will help keep it upright when it's on the rope. As the limbs get more horizontal, they do get a little bit harder to get out on, but with the right techniques, nothing's too difficult. Just take some figuring out. And some care. Some good spike placement helps. You can see now we're way out over the neighbor's driveway. The farther a piece has to go horizontally in the tree, the trickier it gets to get it to go where you want. But the GRCS down there, that winch device, makes it so much easier. I'm gonna throw this camera down to the guys on the ground so they can record part of that winch action down there for you. Ready? Set? Here we go. Hey! All right. Well done. All right, you can go ahead and let that down then. How'd that go for you down there? Did you guys enjoy seeing that? I hope that was helpful and you understand the whole process. Let's get on to cutting up here. Milwaukee recently came out with a whole line of like arborist hand tools, and I wasn't sure. I was kind of skeptical at first, but this thing has actually turned out to be quite the berries. I missed my hook on my Silky, but this thing's also like almost a third the price of a Silky, and it still comes with the scabbard. I did have to find my own straps on Amazon, which that wasn't a big deal. You got to pay for Silky straps anyway. But look how good this thing cuts. That piece of bark got stuck. It's bent in the blade. I think that's pretty all right. I think these things are like 50 bucks. Definitely cheaper than Silky. I'll see if I can't get an affiliate link in the video for you if you want one. The next limb we have to deal with here is probably the longest reaching limb in the whole tree. It reaches way out there, and it's gonna take a really tricky path kind of up between the tree we're working in and this neighboring maple to get up to where it needs to go for us to lower it down. In fact, now that I look at it, I think I should probably go up there and get this smaller limb out of the way first, just to kind of open our pathway up a little. Now, when I have to go up to do something like that, you know, working a tree like this does involve a lot of up and down. There's a lot of traveling up and down the tree, and so spiking everywhere like I did to get up initially is just a slow way to go about moving around. So that's why I like SRT. I can put on my little kit of rope here, snap in my lanyard, and I can just march right up the rope way easier and way faster than I can spike up the tree. On this limb, we gotta go way out here till it's nice and skinny to get our rig rope tied on where we want it. I can climb out this far because a lot of my weight is still sitting in this rope. My weight isn't all on the tree. I weigh about 190 pounds with my chainsaw on my belt and all my climbing gear. And trees are incredibly strong and they can support that 190 pounds, but they do have their limits. Alrighty, I'll just swing around and we'll make our cuts. Alrighty, go ahead and pull on it. Keep going. You can get away with a lot of stuff on these elms. They just hang on. Even when they're declining like this one is. Like look, it's still hanging on. Keep going. Stop. All right, we got to cut it off now. I didn't make a back cut on that one. I just made about a 50% notch. I kind of want to see what would happen. And it was a little more violent when it popped than it needed to be. I should have made a little back cut, but I just wanted to see what would happen. All right, you can go ahead and let it down. Nice and easy. Now we've got plenty of room to swing that big one right up through here. Won't have as much interference with this limb now that it's gone. Now I'm gonna see if I can save myself a couple steps by kicking out there and trying to land on that limb. Oh boy. My confidence is getting lower the more I think about it. Hey, there we go. Ooh, that could have been bad. We're gonna go out here, probably just shy of this union. We'll tie the rope right here. I think that'll give us just enough distance because we don't want, when this stands up, we don't want the spot we tie it on to be higher than the rigging block up there. But we also want to make sure we tie it on far enough that we're way past the center of gravity of the limb. Also, the farther we tie this out, the less force the rope will see. If we were actually to tie this back behind the center of gravity, this rope would see more force than this limb actually weighs because leverage would be working backwards against it. I'm going to zip on down there real quick and we'll cut this one off. This one should be pretty much the best example of what the GRCS can do for it. Because I mean, the limbs on the tips of this limb reach over the neighbor's house even. And we're going to get them all the way back over to there before we let it down. It's hard to see because of the sun, but we still have a fairly narrow corridor for this limb to travel in. So it's really important I get this notch aimed just right because it's kind of what determines, along with the rope, where this branch is going to go as it folds up. Come on. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's where I want it. I do like to make a little bit deeper notches just to get the maximum width of hinge wood that I can when I'm doing these. Let's see here. This should be wide enough. Normally, you know what? It can't be too wide. Becomes real problematic if your notch closes up before the branches stood all the way up sometimes. So I try to make sure I'm plenty wide. Make the back cut here. Okay, I need a little more pre-tension there, Mason. Yep, that's good. Alrighty, it's all cut. You can go ahead and run that drill. Kind of see it lifting up there. Hopefully you can see that past the sunshine. We're gonna watch this notch. You can go full throttle. There we go. It's a little bit more into the maple than I was hoping, but it's not in our elm tree, so at least it's not in both. Ooh, I might have to go up there and get that little maple branch now. But there we go. It's standing up really good. Really good. Okay, stop. Alrighty, now that it's in position, I can go ahead and cut this off, and it's gonna just gently swing away. It's rotating because those branches are in interference up there in the top, and they've got pressure that makes it want to spin, which is okay. There it goes. Nice and gentle. All right, you can go ahead and let that down now. It looks like we did just fine on how far out we tied that one because it's hanging nice and straight, and we didn't come close to that knot getting into that block up there. This is our next limb here. It's big and thick, and it gets pretty thin up there, but it has a limb that goes out way, way, way far over there. So the center of gravity is kind of hard to determine. It's actually probably out beyond this limb a little bit, so this thing's gonna hang a little sideways, but I think there's enough weight down here that it'll be okay. It'll be favorable. We do still have to kind of steer this one out from under the other one, so we'll do that with our cuts. We'll pull on it with the rope, and it should be pretty seamless. All right, instead of making our cuts straight on top, we're gonna angle them a little bit like that. That way limb will move sideways as it gets pulled up. That should get us where we need to go up top there, like I showed you. All right, we're ready to pull.
All right, here we go.
Looking good. Keep going. Stop. That's good. All right, well, it wasn't as seamless as I was hoping for because I didn't quite get it steered just right. It still got caught and broke. It's good enough to be better than any other option so far. All right, you want to try pulling on some more now?
Sure.
That's good. Woo!
That's what I mean by hop off.
Yeah, I couldn't see where it was tied, and I misjudged how much tension was on there. We got a big one next. This thing's not got the original full top in it. We've cut stuff off of it, but there's still a little bit of weight here. Also, you probably can't see it real well, but the rope kind of goes up right against some of these other pieces. We're gonna have to get this one steered a little bit better than the last one, but we've got a lot more hinge wood to do it with. So let's see if we can improve upon our last experience. Now what we're doing here is we are going to be pulling in a direction that is different than where I'm pointing the hinge. So what that means is, in this situation, the hinge should still be strong enough to stay intact, but at some point, once it gets far enough over and those fibers are bent over far enough, there's a good chance the GRCS is going to want to break the hinge off sideways. It may or may not. It kind of all depends on how the forces and weight end up, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens. Okay, I think we got it pointed just right. We want a pretty thin hinge. The hinge has to do a lot of work, but we also don't want the GRCS to have to try too hard to break it off, or to even bend it over. Go ahead and start pulling down there. Oh, the sun's too bright to see up there. Maybe if we look from over here. It's still raking the tops a little bit. That's okay. The big parts are getting around where we need them to go. So this is looking good. Go full throttle with that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this the rest of the way off of here. There it goes. That might be the heaviest piece we've rigged off of that point yet. Maybe not. It's up there though. All right, this is some bigger wood yet. Our last piece was from the top of it. Now we're gonna take this and the branch that's off of there. It's bigger than I wanted to cut with that little saw, so I had the fella send me up the bigger one. Same as last time, we kind of got to get it steered just right to get it through things up above. All right, go ahead and pull on that, Mason. Oh yeah, that's working real nice. Going just by what needs to go by up there. Uh-oh, we're stuck on this nub though. Stop! Let's see if I can get this nub out of the way. Shouldn't have left it, but I did. Yikes. I don't want to kick it out of there and just to have it crush my foot. Go figure. There we go. All right, you can drill a little bit more down there. Yep, she's moving now. Keep going. Stop there. We're back into contact. And I don't really want to fight my way through the rest of that, so let's come down here, cut off the hinge nice and slow. Let the remaining fibers do the work. There we go. Actually popped off of there kind of hard. Not really what I was hoping for, but wasn't too violent nonetheless. Well, folks, we've got a lot of this tree done, and now all we have left is some really high stuff. The struggle with the stuff up high is that I can't use the strategy I have been using because the center of gravity of the limbs that we have left to do is so high in the tree that I can't tie above them and not have our tie point be above our block. So now what we need to do is go back to a conventional rigging strategy where we tie the pieces on, cut them off not too far from the tie, let them flip upside down and swing. We couldn't do that earlier because we were too low and too close to our obstacles. But since we're up high now, we've got plenty of room to do that. Here we go. Alrighty, here she goes. Whoosh. That was a big long piece to be doing that with, but it worked out really good. Don't even think it tore up our maple tree at all. Now we got the top cut out of it, we can go back to what we were doing, using the winch to keep stuff from swinging around all wild-like. All I gotta do is go down there and cut it from the bottom, and we'll stand this piece up towards our rigging point up there. There again, we're getting that hinge nice and thin so we don't have to work extra hard to break it. Go ahead and drill there, Mason. Yep, looking good. And stop. Now I'll go ahead and cut it off. All right, you can go ahead and let that down now. That one went real nice. Very happy with that. We're going to repeat that same process where we cut the top out and then rig the bottom out for this piece and that piece, and then we'll be doing something different for the rest of the tree here. Ooh, I actually cut just a little bit too far on that one. Go ahead and use the drill there, Mason. Keep going and don't stop. Full throttle. Uh-oh. That's not exactly where I wanted it to go. Keep going. That's good. Stop! All right, this one's got some tension on it. It may jump off of here. Ooh, not too bad, not too bad. Still nice gentle swing, coming back for a kiss. Very nice. Alrighty, on down with this girl. That's a lot of weight dancing up there. Here it comes. Ooh, that one kind of ran into the maple a little more, but thankfully it was smaller. Got an interesting little situation we got to deal with here. I got the rope tied onto the tip up there on this piece, and I want to cut this thing down here, but we need to get this graft out of here first. I don't know if this is attached. It's probably not. I expect it's not, but I want to make sure it's not going to hold us up from rigging this down. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of here. I wanted to wait until all the weight was off because I didn't know what support it might be offering the tree. You know, a lot of unknowns there. So no reaction from that yet, so I'm thinking there's not a whole lot going on here, which is good. Ooh, I heard some noise. It is wanting to close the kerf. Yeah, well, that makes sense, right? We had a bunch of weight out on this thing, and we've cut it all off, so this piece probably wants to stand up, and if this is attached here, it won't let it. So that makes sense that this kerf is getting shut on us. Whoop! And I think I just hit the GRCS, which is a bummer that we'll have to worry about later. Look at all them ants. Sorry, guys. Hate to open the front door on you. We got our face cut all made. We'll make our back cut. This one isn't going to be too glamorous, I don't think. All right, you can go ahead and pull on that. And stop. See if we can get it to roll off of there nice. It wants to. Very nice, very nice. That worked out really good. Okay, you can lower that. Now the last of these tops are pretty much all gonna be the same. We're just gonna tie them on at the butt end, cut them off, and let them swing. Not much to it. Yippee-ki-yay! That was a good one. This one here, I'm pretty sure I can just drop and get to land where I want it to go. Time to get this top out of here. I did have my climbing line anchored over here, but I moved over there so we could cut this piece out. This one is kind of tricky. It's got weight in that direction. We got to get it past the tips of that tulip tree branch over there. We go too far this way and we end up in the maple. Now I'm already gonna have to do some maple trimming down there, so I'm gonna yield that way. Hopefully we get what we want. Face cut looks good. Here comes the back cut. Ooh, that was hard on that maple limb. You can let it down now, Mason. Alrighty, I'm gonna try and free fall this log here, see if I can get to land flat or at least close to it. It's always tricky with species that like to hold on, and also when they lean. I don't know, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Oh, it landed flat, but how it rotated and then the knob on the back made it bounce. I guess it is what it is. We're up in our final tops here. That's gone. That one's really gone. The trick here is that these two lean up over our maple tree over here. Now, elm has been really good to us today. It's got great fiber strength, and so I think I can get these two to each go their way, and it'll probably brush the maple, but not get hung up in it. It's what I'm aiming for. I did put a tagline on it just in case. That way the fellows down there can pull it out if it does get stuck. But I really, really, really don't want it to get stuck. Here we go. I'm gonna finish it with the handsaw. Ah! Well, it got stuck in the maple. Can you pull that one out? I was just asking too much of them hinge fibers. Yeah, you might have to let more down there, yep. Very nice. All right, we got the last top all set up. I made a scissor wheel cut in here. The whole point of this is to give these fibers some room to bend. That way they're less likely to break off early in the motion of the piece. We want those to hang on as long as possible because this piece has weight this way, and I want it to go this way. Here we go. Watch right in here and see if we get some nice fiber separation. I think we will. Look at that. Spotted lanternfly. Gotta kill them fellas. Meet the Milwaukee sucker. I don't even know if I got him. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna finish it with the handsaw. Oh, maybe I won't even have to. Oh yeah, look at that. Ow! Well, I broke one limb out of the maple tree. What a bummer. But that piece is down, safe and sound, and that's what matters. Go ahead and let it down at your convenience. I should have cut more and I would have let them fibers separate better. A lot of folks think that a big fat hinge will hang on longer, and I can see why you would think that, but that's not true. A smaller hinge will sometimes hang on longer depending on the species. And I wish that one would have hung on just a smidge longer. Still way better than getting it stuck over there though. I'm glad it worked as well as it did. Well, I'm gonna zip down and go over and get them maple limbs while I've got a nice high tie-in point here. Then I'll come back over here and we'll make this thing shorter. Should be able to take just a little swing over there. Oh, nice. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Were you planning on taking that with you?
I was not planning on taking that off at that time. All right, let's try again here. Alrighty, much better. All right, we're gonna try and flop this log onto the driveway and see if I can get it a little bit flatter than that other one. There we go. That's what it's about right there. See if we can do it again. Oh, that was miserable failure. Okay, well, win some, lose some, I guess, right? It's good to be humbled every now and then. At least it's good to be humbled in an area where it's not super critical. If that was a lawn, it would have destroyed it. Alrighty, the time has come. We got a pull rope on here. I'm gonna buzz down and we're gonna pull the rest of this tree over in that direction towards the fire pit. There she stands. That's not even a good shot. There's nothing but sunshine. Well, it's there. Oh, there we go. There you can see it. It does have some lean towards us, and it has a little bit of back lean. So we're gonna pull it over that way. We're gonna depend on the excellent fiber quality of the elm tree to keep it upright as it goes. We're gonna land it between that wood pile and that tree and that little open area right there. You guys may be interested to know how many batteries we used. We went through a full 2 batteries on this thing, one 8.0, and there's the last one bar left on a 12.0. We used this on the ground to cut up almost an entire pile of poles over there. And I'm really impressed that it did all that, for one, but also it only went through 2 batteries. So 4 batteries got that tree on the ground and processed up. The exception would be some of this bigger wood I think they used this thing on, but not much. Oh no, I used enough to get it down to 1 bar left on the batteries. Still, we got all the way up to this point without making any noise, and it's nice. This is a really quiet neighborhood, and so I didn't want to come in here and make a bunch of noise. I could actually hear the echo of the electric saw when I let off the trigger, so that's just how quiet it is. Let's pull this stick over. We do have a little bit of a critical drop zone here. We got a bird feeder pole over there that we don't want to damage. If we get too close and hit one of these logs, there's a chance it'll flip up and do something crazy, especially with the house right there. It could tear something up. So we got to get it right in the spot there, right towards the fire pit. Oh boy. Okay. Well, that wasn't the best it could have been. We did hit the log pile. Thankfully, nothing catastrophic happened, and it rolled down towards the bird feeder pole. But didn't take nothing out. Got blessed with that one. On the ground, safe and sound. It could have been some things that were a little bit better. It's difficult to have an absolutely perfect day in tree work, so I don't ignore the things that weren't perfect. I know what to do better and what to try harder on. But the same rate, I give myself some grace, and I think it's important because beating yourself up too hard doesn't do anything productive either. There she is. That's how we're leaving. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love making this video for you. I hope you enjoyed watching it. We'll see you next time.